All righty, folks. So here's our devotional for Saturday, July 25th, as we approach the ending of the month of July. Oh my goodness. And also finish up our devotional time in Song of Songs. It's an odd section of scripture to end with, which Weems will address in a few different portions. Offers a couple of speculative theories, but I think does draw us very well to a conclusion with her reflection. So those pieces we'll be sharing. She makes the comment at the beginning of the commentary portion that it really feels like disparate pieces that we are working through. And this is part of the challenge she alluded to as well, of trying to have a sense of cohesion as we're working through this piece that uses fantasy and imagination as a part of its framing. So we begin today with verse 8 and then conclude with verse 14. And this is what she entitles our epilogue. We have a little sister, and she has no breast. What shall we do for our sister on the day when she is spoken for? If she is a wall, we will build upon her a battlement of silver, but if she is a door, we will enclose her with boards of cedar. I was a wall, and my breasts were like towers. Then I was in his eyes as one who brings peace. Solomon had a vineyard at Baal Hamon. He entrusted the vineyard to keepers. Each one was to bring for its fruit 1,000 pieces of silver. My vineyard, my very own, is for myself. You, O Solomon, may have the 1,000, and the keepers of the fruit 200. O you who dwell in the gardens, my companions are listening for your voice. Let me hear it. Make haste, my beloved, and be like a gazelle or a young stag upon the mountains of spices. And then just a couple of introductory lines. This unit consists of disparate pieces of material that seem to lack any obvious coherence to one another and that fail to show any obvious dramatic connection to the unit that precedes it. 3 distinct subunits make up this final section, verses 8 to 10, and that's presumably her brothers talking about the protection of their sister. Verses 11 to 12, and that's the part that gets into Solomon, and then verses 13 and 14, which warns her beloved to either get going or to hurry up, to make haste, because there's threats, continued threats in the background. And hopefully, having stated most of that aphoristically enough to have it be passable, we'll get into a couple other things. Just one comment for me. If we have that opening statement as the protagonist remembering the protection of her brothers, her affirmation of being a wall and one who brings peace, and then the comment on the Solomon's vineyard and having her own garden that is of equal value to Solomon's vineyard, that would probably make the most sense to me. Now, we'll get into the juicy part with Weems' comment here. Her brothers or other male relatives lurk in the background, determined to catch not only the shepherd's dishonorable advances toward their sister, but also their socially unacceptable attempt to unite. Seen in this way, the epilogue concludes the book with a description of the consummation of their love as the protagonist's continual defiance of the social norms. Or, on a more realistic tone, sorry about that ringing, on a more realistic note, the ancient audience is left to contemplate the final episode in their thwarted passion. That is, rebellion against cultural norms, no matter how moving, inspiring, and legitimate, is in the end very costly. That's a sobering word, and that's where she moves into our final reflection. The composer who brought together this little book of love poems known as the Song of Songs was not an idealist. She was quite aware of the cost lovers must pay for defying social customs. Despite the homily on the power of love in 8:6-7, she is not saying simply that love conquers all. Love may conquer all, but not without a price. It will have to survive the forces of cultural ideology, family beliefs, outside opinions, and the lover's own individual quirks and limitations. The poet is apparently sympathetic to the lover's desire to plead for their right to love whom they choose, irrespective of norms and prejudices, and to their desire to explore their love. But the composer also respects the power that the combined weight of custom, tradition, and attitudes has to distort even the most laudable attempts at reform. No matter how noble their cause, because of the power and influence of culture, nonconformists must always look over their shoulders. Song of Songs is for the contemplative and the realist. It does not lend itself easily to some of the God said it and I believe it and that settles it preaching that bellows from so many pulpits every Sunday morning. Its lessons are not that banal. It demands introspection and honesty on the part of its audience. It invites them to explore the complicated world of emotions and feelings that clash with inherited values and cherished traditions. Nothing is as simple as it seems, not even falling in love. Finally, Song of Songs can teach modern audiences a lot about the power and politics of love. It invites its audience to weigh the risk of love and ask us indirectly whether love is worth it. Those of us who think that it is worth it must decide so wisely. The recurring narrative plot of the Bible is that of the power of divine love to subvert the external systems that oppress human existence. The poetry of Song of Songs gives us a glimpse into the battle of human love to subvert the internal systems that thwart human relations. Thank you, Renita Weems. That commentary, the whole thing, is one of the best examples of feminist and liberationist theology that I've encountered in my own teaching and preaching and experience. As I stated at the beginning, I'm not saying you have to agree with everything that's coming from Weems, but us being able to hear it and to have our faith deepened by it and our understanding expanded is crucial as we continue moving forward. So that's it for Song of Songs. We will be taking a little bit of a break because we've got some other stuff I got to tackle. And then when we start back with our daily devotionals, the plan is to come into the prophet Isaiah. It is a long book, so it's going to be a long study process, but have some neat resources that I just picked up in the spring that I'm looking forward to using. All right, that is it. Have a wonderful day, and we will see you the next time we step into Isaiah.